The Alchemy of Resilience: How Black Women Entrepreneurs Are Redefining Success. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this special exploration of entrepreneurial transformation. Today, I'm honored to share profound insights from my recent deep dive conversation with Christina Robinson, a visionary researcher whose groundbreaking work has been documenting the extraordinary journey of Black women entrepreneurs across America. Christina isn't just collecting data, she's capturing a revolution. Her meticulous research has uncovered patterns that challenge everything we thought we knew about entrepreneurship, resilience, and collective progress. What makes Christina's work so revolutionary is that she's not just illuminating disparities, though that alone would be valuable. She's revealing how Black women are fundamentally transforming the entrepreneurial landscape through what I call the alchemy of resilience. Christina has spent the last decade in communities across America, recording stories, gathering data, and witnessing firsthand how Black women entrepreneurs are creating entirely new models of success that could reshape our understanding of business itself. What if I told you that the most powerful force in business today isn't venture capital? It isn't cutting edge technology. It isn't even market disruption. What if the most transformative business innovation happening right now is actually community? This is the counterintuitive truth Christina Robinson's research has revealed. While we've been taught that entrepreneurship is a solitary journey, the lone visionary battling against all odds, Black women entrepreneurs are quietly rewriting that narrative. They're demonstrating that true innovation happens not in isolation, but in connection. Let me share something surprising with you. We typically frame conversations about Black women in entrepreneurship around overcoming adversity. We talk about the barriers, the challenges, the uphill battles, and those conversations are important, but they're incomplete. What Christina's research reveals is far more revolutionary. Black women aren't just surviving in entrepreneurship, they're driving systemic change and outpacing market growth despite facing persistent funding disparities and structural barriers. Their resilience has evolved beyond mere survival into strategic reinvention, transforming barriers into platforms for broader community advancement. This isn't just inspiring, it's instructive. Consider what happened at the Women's Business Enterprise National Council conference in New Orleans in 2025. Hundreds of woman owned businesses gathered amid record breaking growth rates. The challenges they faced were substantial. Women received approval for only 45% of loan requests, compared to men's 55%, with higher denial rates as well. But what happened next defies conventional business wisdom. Instead of competing more fiercely for limited resources, these entrepreneurs, many of them Black women, collaborated. They developed innovative peer to peer mentoring programs. They pooled resources to access capital collectively. They leveraged conference networking opportunities, not just for individual gain, but for collective advancement. The results? Average revenues among Black woman owned firms rose by over 32%, with expanded market access through shared vendor contracts. Many attendees who had previously struggled alone found strength in community driven models. Regional business alliances formed. Several members secured major supply chain contracts post conference. This wasn't just a conference, it was a revolution in how we think about business success. Now, traditional economics would suggest this makes no sense. In a resource constrained environment, The rational response is to compete harder, to secure your own position first. But these entrepreneurs were doing something different, something that challenges our fundamental assumptions about how business works. They were practicing what I call transformative resilience, turning personal survival skills into community advancement tools. This pattern isn't isolated. Christina's research consistently shows that Black women entrepreneurs are catalysts for collective progress, not only advancing their own businesses, but creating support systems that uplift others within their communities. Let's look at another powerful example that Christina documented. Analysis from UBS Global highlights female founders struggle with accessing capital globally, with an even starker gap for women of color. Female led startups consistently received less venture capital than male led counterparts. Fewer than one third of angel investors were female. Only 4% of venture capital general partners were Black. The conventional wisdom would suggest these founders were doomed to struggle or fail. But something remarkable happened instead. Some founders pivoted toward alternative financing, such as crowdfunding or forming investment collectives focused specifically on BIPOC founders. Several high growth startups founded by Black women achieved profitability without traditional VC backing, and some reported exit rates exceeding sector averages among their VC backed peers. These founders cited experiences navigating bias during fundraising rounds as catalysts for seeking alternative pathways to scale their ventures. They launched successful investment clubs targeting underrepresented demographics. Their increased visibility led to invitations from institutional investors after their success stories received media coverage. They didn't just find a workaround, they created entirely new pathways to success that broaden definitions around what entrepreneurial success looks like and open doors previously closed due to systemic biases. This is the alchemy of resilience, turning obstacles into opportunities not just for yourself, but for others. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not suggesting that systemic barriers are somehow beneficial or should be maintained. The data Christina shared with me is unequivocal. These disparities are real and damaging. Recent National Bureau of Economic Research data surveyed gender and race gaps across thousands of US startups between 2019 and 2020. Men started businesses at a rate nearly two-thirds higher than women. Blacks launched new ventures at a rate over one fifth, lower than whites, due largely to resource constraints. These are serious structural problems that demand structural solutions. But here's where it gets interesting. Targeted accelerator programs emerged, focusing specifically on supporting minority founders through mentorships and seed grants. Exit rates among female founded VC backed startups reached nearly double their representation, a testament to strong performance given opportunity. Many program participants had been denied traditional funding multiple times before finding acceptance within these tailored accelerators. Notable alumni went on to secure national press coverage and additional rounds from larger funds once initial traction was proven. These programs helped narrow, but not eliminate, the gap between intention and realization, especially among underrepresented groups. What Christina's research reveals is that Black women entrepreneurs aren't waiting for perfect conditions. They're creating new conditions. They're not just building businesses, they're building ecosystems. Despite receiving less funding approval, Only 45% of requested amounts versus 55% for men. Black women owned businesses have seen average revenues increase by over 32%, demonstrating remarkable efficiency and impact with limited resources. Systemic gaps in startup founding and financing persist. However, the rate of new firms led by Black women continues to grow rapidly, proving that transformation is possible even within uneven playing fields when resilience meets strategy. This challenges everything we think we know about success in business. We've been taught that entrepreneurship is about individual genius, about competition, about disruption. But what if the most powerful form of entrepreneurship is actually about connection, collaboration, and community? What if the future of business isn't about who can climb highest alone, but who can build the strongest ladders for others? This is the profound shift that Christina Robinson's research illuminates. Black women entrepreneurs are demonstrating that true success isn't measured by individual achievement alone, but by collective advancement. They're showing us that resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward and bringing others with you. They're revealing that the most powerful response to systemic exclusion isn't just to find your own way in, it's to create new doors that remain open for others. This isn't just a feel good story, it's a fundamental reimagining of what business success looks like. And it has profound implications for how we think about entrepreneurship, leadership, and progress. For too long, we've operated under the assumption that business is a zero sum game, that for someone to win, someone else must lose. But what if that's simply not true? What if the most sustainable form of success is one that creates success for others? This is the question that Christina Robinson's research forces us to confront, and it's a question that has implications far beyond entrepreneurship. In a world facing complex, interconnected challenges, from climate change to social inequality, we need models of success that prioritize collective advancement over individual achievement. We need leaders who understand that true resilience comes not from hardening boundaries, but from strengthening connections. Black women entrepreneurs are pioneering these models. They're demonstrating what's possible when we redefine success not as climbing over others, but as climbing with others. So I stand before you today with an urgent question. What if everything we've been taught about success is wrong? What if the path to true innovation, to sustainable growth, to meaningful impact isn't through competition, but through collaboration? What if the future belongs not to those who can accumulate the most resources, but to those who can connect the most people? This isn't abstract philosophy. It's happening right now in communities across America, led by Black women entrepreneurs who are transforming how business works. The question isn't whether this transformation is happening, the question is whether we're paying attention and whether we're ready to learn. I challenge you today to examine your own definition of success. Is it measured only in individual achievement, or does it include how many others you've lifted as you've risen? I challenge you to look at your own business practices. Are you building walls or bridges? Are you accumulating resources or connecting communities? And I challenge you to ask yourself, how can I contribute, not just personally succeed, to building an ecosystem where every barrier I overcome becomes a bridge for someone else? What step will I take this week toward amplifying another entrepreneur's journey. Because in the end, the true alchemy of resilience isn't just turning pain into power, it's turning individual power into collective progress. And that may be the most important business innovation of our time.